episode 3 since we changed the name to Chasin 28. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Enjoying the cold weather if you're in the Northeast. Hope you're wearing a mask, staying safe as we all try to beat COVID-19 together. I'm your host, Ricky Keeler. Glad to be back with you once again this week in what would have been the winter meetings, but I guess it's a virtual winter meetings. But we got a lot to get into. The Yankees, of course, have been very quiet. Brian Cashman gave some interesting comments on Yankees hot stove on Thursday. We're going to dive into those, talk about DJ LeMahieu, Masahiro Tanaka, and whether or not it's a given either of them will be in pinstripes next year. We'll talk about some of the news going on in baseball. Lance Lynn goes to the White Sox. What does that mean for the Yankees? And will they have to deal with some PR hit if the Mets make moves? And, of course, all the latest with the minor league shakeup. Of course, the teams that have been invited have been announced that they've been invited to join the new minor league rankings. We'll talk about that a little bit, even though the Yankees have had theirs finalized a little while ago. And the Rule 5 draft was today, and Yankees lost a lot of players. And I got a thought as to why they keep losing all of those players. But we'll talk about that throughout the show. Want to remind you can follow us on Twitter at Pinstripe Pros. Follow us on Instagram. Like us on Facebook. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Just search. It's probably still under Pinstripe Prospects Podcast where you can find it for right now. But just either search that or Chasin 28 and you'll find it on any place you get your podcasts. Be sure to give us a rating. We hope it's 5 stars. I want to hear from you, though. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. You can send me an email as well, rickjkeeler@gmail.com. So I'm joined once again by our great panel of hosts here. Let's start with James O'Connell. James, how you doing today?
Doing great. Good to be back. I feel like it's been forever since I recorded a show. It was just because how slow the offseason's been, but doing great. Looking forward to talking some baseball here. It's been a while. Really kind of tuned out a little bit, but I guess recently with all the news coming out, rumors, it's time to kind of pull myself back into the baseball world. Been really focused on the Giants, really focused on the next season starting, but it's time to get back in baseball and see what's going on with the Yanks.
We have the great person who runs our social media, Alexis Farinacci. Alexis, how you doing?
Doing good. It's good to be back, guys. It's been a little while. I know we finally have some MLB and MILB news to talk with the Rule 5 happening today, and excited to get into that.
And, of course, we have the co-founder of the Pinstripe Prospects website, Paul Pagnato's here. Paul, how you doing?
Doing great. A little bored, but, trying to get by through this slow winter.
So let's start with DJ LeMahieu because that's what, obviously every Yankee fan wants to talk about. And I know that a lot of the insiders have made the case that, it looks like DJ LeMahieu is going to come back. They don't really see a position where he won't. Brian Cashman said on the Yankees hot stove with Meredith Marakovitz that the sides are talking, but there's no updates. My question, I guess, to lead off with, I'll start with you, Alexis. Is there any worry the longer this goes, the chances decrease that DJ LeMahieu wears a Yankee uniform? Because you feel like if you keep hearing he wants to be a Yankee and that's the only place he wants to be, and you've got other players saying he wants to be back, but yet he's not. So is there any worry for that?
I don't know yet. I think there is. I think this kind of is prolonging. It makes you wonder if there's negotiations happening right now between the Yankees and LeMahieu to try to get him back. I think if you're the Yankees, you're kind of silly for letting him go. He was really the heart and soul of your offensive battle this year. Without him, we saw those struggles. And then when he came back, we saw that the bat started to come alive again. There was just a spark and an energy in the lineup when LeMahieu was in it. One of the overall batting leaders this season. I think it's hard to let him go. I don't think you do. I think you got to go big if you are letting him go. You got to bring in someone.
I think the worry, James, with LeMahieu is what you heard from Jeff Passan this week. And one of the teams that he mentioned could be in on the LeMahieu sweepstakes is the Dodgers. And if DJ ended up in L.A., it's just more of a reminder that the Dodgers have perfected the big market rebuild / have a great team and have your great farm system, and the Dodgers have done that 5 times better than you. So that'd be a really cruel reminder if he went to LA.
He's coming back. I don't think there's much of a scenario where DJ doesn't come back. The Yankees have to sign someone, because if they don't sign someone, at bare minimum, being DJ LeMahieu, bringing him back, it's going to be a catastrophe given what's going on, what seems to be going on in Flushing, which we'll get into later. So I don't really think there's much of a chance they don't bring him back. But with that being said, I think that's just about the only thing we're going to get out of this offseason in terms of significance. I think DJ is kind of where the cap is, but I don't see him not being brought back. He's working out with Aaron Judge on Instagram. He's putting up there's no way. He's a Yankee. He'll be a Yankee. I'd be absolutely stunned if he wasn't back.
Yeah, that would be such a troll job by LeMahieu if he's out there tweeting he's using Aaron Judge's bat, and you could tell Yankee fans would probably not be too kind to DJ LeMahieu if he has done these things and decides to go elsewhere.
Yeah, Yankee fans are pretty cruel, but, look, I've kind of changed my tune here on LeMahieu. I initially, was, pitching. But, the guy, all he's done is perform. He made the first team all MLB for the second straight year. He's actually the only infielder to be named to the honor both this year and last. But what really made me change my tune on DJ coming back and how I think how far we should go for him is how quietly he's become a clubhouse leader. Luke Voigt was on WFAN. His quote was, "If I'm a gambling man, I would like to put money on DJ coming back. I think he wants to be back. I hope he's back because he's one of the best players in baseball. One of the best hitters I've played with. I want him in pinstripes for the rest of his career." And, that's pretty powerful. Clint Frazier went on to say on Bucky Dent's Deep to Left podcast, he's about to get paid because of the way he went about his routine in such a good way and developed dude into the best player in Major League Baseball that I've seen. And then he also added, he offered for me to be a shadow. I mean, that just says it all right there.
So, James, I know you wanted to talk about the rumor that came out a few weeks ago that if the Yankees can't get LeMahieu done, they would look at Michael Brantley, the former Astros and Indians outfielder of the past, as a plan B. Do you like that move, especially since I was seeing a tweet? Aaron Hicks was on with the Yankees Hot Stove crew today. He did an interview with them. Brendan Cuddy kind of, I think, summarized still a concern from Aaron Hicks that he had to change his swing last year to stop his arm from hyperextending, and his arm still doesn't feel the same. So for a guy coming off of Tommy John, you would think even if LeMahieu were to sign, I don't know how reliable you can be on Aaron Hicks going into next year.
Well, to begin with, I think the Yankees overall were a little bit too lofty with their expectations for Aaron Hicks. They had this guy pegged as a center fielder of the future, no doubt, giving him a 7-8-year deal or whatever they gave him. He at no point did he really show that level of caliber of a player. I don't remember ever being like, man, Aaron Hicks is damn good. I don't think those words have ever come out of my mouth. It's always been like, well, Aaron Hicks can get on base. Like, he could provide something for you. So I've never been all that impressed with Aaron Hicks. I don't think really anyone has. I'm sure he's hit his home runs, pimping and everything, all that stuff. It's pretty cool. But he's not by any means a star type player. And as far as Brantley, he's also no DJ LeMahieu, of course. An 840 OPS last year. He had a solid year with Houston, obviously. He's a great hitter, a phenomenal pure hitter, but I would love him in addition to DJ LeMahieu. I wouldn't love him replacing DJ LeMahieu. I think it would soften the blow to some degree because it would make people happy that they have a threat from the left-hand side. But I don't see how he is the replacement for that bat. That no one understands. Everyone understands. If you take DJ LeMahieu out of that lineup, you're right back to that 2018 team where it was the most frustrating experience of all time. So you need some type of versatility in that lineup. We spoke about that the first show after they got eliminated, that they need some more versatility. And bringing in Brantley to replace LeMahieu is not the correct idea. Bringing in Brantley in addition to LeMahieu would be the correct idea, but I'm not expecting it, obviously, given the rumors and just the financial state of the Yankees.
Speaking on the financial state of the Yankees, Paul, I think it's interesting that we've heard throughout different people. Michael Kay, I think, has said it the most, that if you get DJ LeMahieu back, it's probably going to be at the cost of Tanaka, and it's not a given even if LeMahieu left that Tanaka would come back either. I think everybody thought at the beginning of the offseason that Tanaka was going to be a Yankee, but with the starting pitching market developing as it is, the Lance Lynn trade, which we'll get into, there will be a lot of teams looking at Tanaka. I think there has to be concern. Like, yes, people have to understand, every owner has lost money. The Yankees are not immune to losing money from COVID-19, so they're obviously not going to spend as much. But if they miss on both LeMahieu and Tanaka, that's going to be a big hit to the fan base in terms of wanting them to buy tickets if there are fans going into next year as well.
Yeah, I kind of, all I'll say is I think he's good as gone. The only chance that he is a Yankee is if he takes a massive, massive, massive discount, which, I don't see happening. I see him taking a massive discount, but, throw 2 more massives in there and he's good as gone.
So it begs the question as we look, Alexis, at the Lance Lynn trade going to the White Sox. The White Sox give up Dane Dunning, who, of course, is in the Adam Eaton trade, which, by the way, Adam Eaton is back with the White Sox. He might be the first player since Chapman to get traded in a rebuild and then come back to another team. But the Rangers got a decent amount back for him. It sounded like the Yankees were never in on Lance Lynn. Alexis, do you think they made a mistake not going after Lynn?
I do. I think he was a guy that you needed to go after. I think we all liked his stats that he's had, and with as much as the Yankees, especially now, have given up in the Rule 5 draft and the amount of guys that are going to free agency from the Yankees, it's time to see big moves from this Yankees front office. It needs to happen fast.
See, and this is the thing I differ on Lynn and James and Paul. You can chime in after this, too. I'm not giving up Clark Schmidt for Lance Lynn, which has sounded like that would have been the cost of that kind of a trade, because we've seen how Lance Lynn works in New York. He's thrived in Texas. Maybe he thrives in Chicago as being that 3-4 starter with Giolito and Keuchel and all those young guys they have in Chicago. I don't really know if he would fit here in New York, but I think the issue you're seeing still is the Yankees are going to put trust in the kids. And I know a lot of fans don't trust in the guys like Herman if he comes back and he's pitched in winter ball, and Garcia and Montgomery. People, this is why they brought in Matt Blake. If you didn't see the tea leaves 2 years ago last year when they signed Garrett Cole to the $300 million they gave him, he basically was the cost of 2-3 pitchers. When you hear Cashman say we're counting Severino and Herman as one pitcher because they don't know what they're going to get at either one of them, the Yankees are not shopping at the big retail store for pitching. They are going bargain basement shopping, whether you like it or not, and they hope Matt Blake can develop them.
That's what I said. I'm pretty sure I said that in the offseason preview. We've seen this movie before, Lance Lynn. I mean, bringing Lance Lynn in, that's really not doing much of anything for anyone. I wouldn't be any type of excited, like, oh my God, they just brought in Lance Lynn. No, that's not. We've seen that before. He's not good. He's put together 2 very good seasons. Don't get me wrong. But this is not a guy where you're like, okay, now you put him in the number 2 slot, and now you're led by Garrett Cole and Lance Lynn. No, this is not a need. You of course you need pitching. I do think they should at least grab one veteran arm, but not Lance Lynn. I'm not a fan.
So, you would be a fan of? We saw the report. I think John Mackey had it from a Pittsburgh newspaper that the Yankees were looking into Jameson Taillon and Josh Bell. It just sounds like to me the Yankees are going to be looking at pitching trades more so than trying to spend on this market. And please stop trying to sell me on a Sonny Gray reunion. It didn't work the last time. It's not going to work this time.
I'm not so bought in on the Jameson Taillon thing. I'm not. I think the interesting part of that deal was the Josh Bell situation, which I don't know if that's an indication of Luke Voigt's name being discussed amongst the Yankees front office about his future. I'm pretty that we had rumblings about that. So I think that the more intriguing side of that trade was that Josh Bell was discussed. Jameson Taillon does not intrigue me. You need I don't know. You need a Tanaka. I don't know why. They're not going to bring back Tanaka, but you need someone like Tanaka. He's reliable. Like for the most part, you're going to get out of him. He had a tough postseason, sure, but contributing factor with no fans, I think so. So. I don't know. I personally, I think the perfect guy to bring back to the staff is Tanaka. It makes, to me, 0 sense not to bring him back.
And I think there's still a chance, but the problem the Yankees have is if they give 85, 90 million to LeMahieu and they sound like they want to be under 210 or ownership wants to be under 210, it's going to be hard to fit them both, especially when teams that lost out on Lynn and teams that I'm shocked the Reds want to deal Gray because he was really good for them last year, but everybody in the NL Central is trying to cut payroll.
How much is Tanaka really going to get? What do we like? Do you see Tanaka getting more than $15 million a year with that elbow? I don't see really what is his worth out there. I don't see him getting so much support. Like I think a max of $20 million a year at the most. I don't see him getting any more than that unless he goes back to Japan and cashes out there. But I think $15 million for him with that elbow state is more than reasonable.
Yeah, but I don't think, and either you two can chime in as well, I don't think the Yankees would go $20 million a year. I think there would be a team out there that would give them $20 million a year just because there's not a lot of starting pitching options out there.
The only team we can see doing something like that would be like the Angels. I guess that could happen, but I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I'll chime in on Lance Lynn really quick.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been – I don't think I could have pulled the trigger if it was for Clark Schmidt. But anybody else, I'm pretty much in. Over the last 2 seasons, Lance Lynn, he's not a big, sexy name, but he's been baseball's most durable starter. He's led the majors in starts with 46 and in innings. He has more WAR than any other pitcher other than Jacob deGrom over the past 2 years. I mean, he's essentially on a 1-year, $8 million deal. You can go out and sign DJ. You can go out and potentially get an incentive-laden contract with like Jose Quintana and another, maybe Kevin Pillar as, Brett Gardner replacement, as a backup outfielder. I mean, he slots in so nicely, and he's just durable. We need innings, and that's what he's been.
Yeah, I think that's something the Yankees have to keep in mind. Somebody, whether you want to give up the high price or not, you're going to need people to give innings, which is why maybe they sign a couple of low-cost guys and they try to get 5-6 innings out of them. But even with the talent this Yankee starting rotation has in terms of young, talented upside guys, Paul, they're going we're in a year where you're probably going to at least play 100 games, maybe not 162, but at least over 100. You still need innings.
100%. And I mean, look, like you can ask, like, all right, are they going to put more trust into guys like Clark and Davey? I mean, Aaron Boone already came out and said on, I keep referencing the Deep to Left Bucky Dent's podcast, but he already said Clark Schmidt, we're so excited about him, but, he continued to say still probably needs more seasoning. I mean, that should just tell you all, everything in one quote right there on how they're going to, develop him in the minor leagues and, not really have him at the big league level. You're right. They do need innings badly. And this is essentially what the season's, if they hold firm with staying under 210, it's going to be a waste of $210 million because one, people are not going to be excited about this team. You're going to have less views. You're going to have, if people are allowed, eventually we'll have a vaccine, that looks promising. And, but yeah, there's going to be less people in the ballpark and this team's not going to go deep in the postseason. So you're going to, essentially waste $210 million and you're going to waste Aaron Judge, Gleyber Torres, Garrett Cole's prime. I mean, none of that sounds appealing to me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I'm fully prepared for this to be the least excited I've gone into a season since 2016. Fully prepared for it.
And I think it boils down to all we hear from Yankee pitching is, oh, they're great. They're going to be really good. But they're still seasoning. But they're still upside. But they're not ready. I feel like that's been the story for Yankees young pitching over the last decade.
Yeah, they've had a really tough time, developing starters. Relievers have been a little different story, but, relievers are a little easier to come by, a lot easier to come by. But, I mean, as far as starting pitching wise, I think they hold guys way, too close to the vest. I mean, I think Davey should have been traded back in, 2019 at the deadline for a guy like Marcus Stroman. I mean, that's a guy like, if you can have Davey Garcia turn into Marcus Stroman, I mean, that's a huge win. I mean, you could say whatever you want about the kid, and he's got more upside, and sure, but, you got to get reliable arms, and you also have to develop guys and give them a chance. I mean, Davey, you just look at what they did to him, with, you start an inning and, then get pulled after your first playoff inning. And it's just, they need to commit to developing guys at the big league level. And that's just something they haven't been able to do. And I think that's really hurt them.
So let me transition to this because I know, Paul, you want to talk about this. When we get into the other team across the borough in Queens and Steve Cohen. Now, the Mets haven't exactly made the huge splash yet. They did bring in Trevor May on a really good deal, 2 years, about $15.5 million. They're looking into James McCann, not JT Realmuto behind the plate. They're looking at George Springer. Bob Klapisch tweeted that Sandy Alderson would want Trevor Bauer. Should the Yankees be worried that the Mets are going to be maybe the ones that win the winter?
I mean, I 100% think so. And it actually is, putting my Yankee fandom and my love of, Yankees baseball aside, Steve Cohen is exactly what baseball needs in a big, big way. Good for Steve Cohen. I see him out there on Twitter. Good on you. Baseball owners should take note and, kind of copy what Uncle Steve's been doing and what he's going to do in Queens. I'm excited for the Mets fans, to be honest. And I'm actually really looking forward to the battle in New York. I'm glad the Mets aren't a doormat and a laughingstock anymore. That's not good for anybody. I think baseball and, ownership and, the Players Association have been tone deaf. Nothing short of tone deaf in the past 12 months. And this brings a little excitement and, a little energy and a little, good into the game and with the current state of the industry right now.
Yeah, Alexis, I want to get your thoughts on this as well, because I feel like with New York, and James can probably attest to this being a Knicks fan too, even if the Mets made so many big moves, the Yankees are still going to be the talk of the town. I don't really think the Yankees have to necessarily worry too much about the Mets making moves because, again, they won't see them until they play in the World Series. If anything, maybe Steve Cohen might be open to making trades with the Yankees, which would be interesting. But there has to be a PR hit that the Yankees have to worry about in a way where, hey, those guys, I thought we had this infinite amount of money and we can spend. Now, we know that's not true, but that'll always be the Yankee perception. I don't think they would be hurt box office-wise, but there would be a say, hey, what's that other New York team doing and why can't we do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as you're the New York Yankees, you're always going to be kind of the talk of New York. You're going to be a name that everybody thinks of when you hear New York at the front end. But at the same token, with Steve Cohen coming in with the Mets already showing that they're wanting to make moves this offseason and really make that World Series push in the 2021 season. I think if you're the Yankees, yeah, you've got some PR to do. I think, especially if you let LeMahieu go, you let Tanaka go, some of these bigger names, Yankees fans they're not going to be happy and they're going to want answers. So if you're Yankees PR, yeah, you do need to get ready. You need to be able to burn some fires because they're going to come and they're going to come quick.
But James, isn't this kind of like reverse Knicks in a way where, yeah, the Knicks realize, hey, we're Madison Square Garden, we're not very good, but people will show up because we're the Knicks. Can't the Yankees just say, well, yeah, the Mets are making moves, but we're the Yankees. We've been a consistent winner. We're constantly getting to the playoffs. I feel like it's like a reverse New York basketball situation in a way.
The thing that really is different with this scenario is like, the Nets brought in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving last offseason, and they're undoubtedly head over heels a million times better than the Knicks. It's not even a debate. No one, that's a known thing. I really think no matter what the Mets do this offseason, they're still not going to be a better team than the Yankees overall. Are they going to make more noise? Yeah, but I don't think when you go down the list of contenders, I don't really think the Mets are going to be above the Yankees at any point, especially with Noah Syndergaard out. They're not bringing both Springer and Bauer, I don't think, unless they really go nuts. But I don't see that. I think they're going to get Springer and McCann, or maybe Springer and Realmuto. They'll be great. They'll be a very good team, but I don't think they'll be at the level of the Yankees. So I don't think they're at all really worried about that, as they shouldn't be. They should be worried. This is what Yankees fans' gripe were with Met fans all along for the past couple of years, is that worry about yourselves. Why are you rooting against the Yankees? Just worry about yourself. You're in a completely different division. That just if there's a trade to be made between the Yankees and Mets and they're a good match, just make the trade. No one cares. Just worry about yourself. So I think that's kind of the approach the Yankees should take, is essentially just be the bigger man in the situation. The Mets right now, they have more money than you do. Be the bigger man, accept that, worry about yourself. Do not worry about what's going on in Flushing. They have a couple years before you really, in my opinion, have to worry about them as a World Series threat. I don't think they're going to get there next year no matter what they do here. But I do think they're going to be a much improved ball club. That being said, of course, because they're going to bring in more talent. But I don't think they should be worried about that. And if they are worried about that, they're worried about the wrong things.
Very quickly before we get into the Rule 5 stuff, we haven't been here since the Yankees made the decision to tender Gary Sanchez a contract, but give him the $5 million for this year. It's not a real surprise, but are we going to get to the point, and we kind of saw this last year, and we can have all of you guys chime in on this, doesn't matter who goes first. Gary Sanchez is essentially, when we see him playing in winter ball and we get the updates and he's looking okay down there, but essentially playing for his own playing time again, because he's not going to start opening day, you would think, if Garrett Cole's pitching. So essentially Gary Sanchez, it's okay to give him $5 million because you're not going to overpay for McCann and Realmuto. That doesn't necessarily mean he's starting at $5 million.
Yeah, I have a very good feeling about Gary this year. I don't know. I didn't have it the last couple of years. I have a very good feeling about him this year. I think he kind of knows. Like he's had, I guess, a cushion over the past couple of years because it's Gary Sanchez and he's this, he's that. He was great in 2017, but then he had the injuries. He's had all these cushions and excuses rolling for him. Now those are kind of running out, and almost everyone's getting completely sick of him. I got a good feeling he's busting his tail. There was an article that came out, I forget who wrote it, that almost as soon as the season ended, he was down in Tampa working. And he's been lighting it up in the Dominican League. I know that's really no sample size whatsoever, but I have a good feeling about Gary this year, and it was a complete no-brainer to tender him a contract. I don't think anyone expected them to do differently. So yeah, I have a good feeling about him this year, and that was just, in my opinion, a given that he was getting that contract.
Yeah, you don't want him going to the Rays and then all of a sudden he hits 25, 30 home runs and people will blame you for not developing him properly. Kind of like the Yankees have kind of, in my opinion, been unfairly criticized for Sonny Gray. Yes, they didn't probably develop Sonny Gray well with Larry Rothschild, but at the same time, Sonny Gray didn't exactly pitch great either.
Right.
So it's really a flip of the coin, but if you're only paying a guy $5 million, I guess you're okay to go with that. I want to remind everybody it's a new era at Pinstripe Prospects. We provide exclusive minor league content to paid subscribers with our Dugout membership program. You get scouting reports, player interviews, features, and much more in addition to our free major league coverage. Sign up today for either $5.50 a month or $40 a year, and you have the opportunity to enter contests that we have throughout on our social media accounts that are fun too. You can use the promo, if you're not sure about us and you want to take a shot at us for 30 days, you can use the promo code Chasin28pod. That's Chasin, Chasin, 28pod. Against Chasin 28pod is the code you would have to use to try us out for 30 days. So be sure to check us out. So while the virtual winter meetings have not been a buzz in terms of that many major league signings, there's been a few. Charlie Morton went for the meetings to the Braves. Carlos Santana's on the Royals. So there are a couple. But the Rule 5 draft was on Thursday, and it was your yearly reminder that the Yankees talent is liked by other organizations. In the Major League phase, Garrett Whitlock, the right-handed pitcher, taken by the Red Sox. Trevor Stefan was taken by the Indians, another pitcher. Kyle Holder, the former first-round pick at shortstop, taken by the Phillies. The losses didn't end there. In the minor league phase, Matt Wavinis, the right-hander, goes to the Rangers. Caleb Ort, well liked by this site and this podcast, goes to the Red Sox. Gustavo Kempero, a catcher, goes to the Angels. And Ben Ruda, who is a very good, consistent hitting outfielder, goes to the Padres. And Paul, I wanted to bring you in to start this one because I feel the strategy. I remember back when the Yankees tried to trade for Zach Britton, and the strategy for the Yankees was, okay, we're going to trade guys that we probably won't keep and we're going to lose in Rule 5, and we're going to try to get the most out of their value. I feel like other teams have caught on to that Yankee strategy and are not trading with the Yankees since then. And we haven't seen a trade deadline deal, I believe, since Britton. And you're seeing the Yankees now lose all this talent. Now, they might get some of it back. Somebody might not keep them on a 40-man roster and they get them back $50,000, and it might not be as big of a loss as we're talking about now. But that's a lot of talent this team is losing, and they're not getting anything back for it.
It is. It's true. And, you've had great names, be taken in the Rule 5 draft. Yohan Santana, Josh Hamilton, Dan Ugla, Shane Victorino, all these types of guys. I don't think any of the guys that the Yankees are losing are of that caliber. I think they're smart enough, and I have full faith in, the decision to put them on the 40-man and protect them if they were a guy like that. Really, I mean, you could say Whitlock was a true prospect, I guess. But, the only, I would say, true prospect the Yankees lost is Trevor Stefan. He's been number 24 on MLB Pipeline. Essentially, he's a fastball slider guy, hits 98 with his fastball. He's got average control, but, I think he's a big league arm. I think it could have been very useful this year. Caleb Ort's another guy that I really like. I'm hoping he gets a big league opportunity somewhere. I wasn't surprised. I thought they were kind of get rated again, and they did. That's just a testament to the organization and how stocked the system is, which is a good thing. I actually am kind of glad that the Rule 5 happens because these kids get a shot. They're going to get a shot, and a better shot with a different organization. And, the one name that I will say, and then I'll let you guys chime in, is I'm surprised Addison Rust didn't get picked. He was the relief pitcher Cashman acquired from Philly in the David Hale trade, back last August. But, I really thought he was going to be picked in the big league phase. And I think that's a name to look out for, of a guy that's really going to play an important role in 2021 for the Yankees.
Yeah, that was really a big surprise as well. I think the Garrett Whitlock hit, it probably just stings more because the Red Sox took him. But he was a guy I think people liked, was coming off of injury, but he was very consistent. Caleb Ork going to Boston too, so he gets a major league talent. He goes to Boston. But Alexis, I know you wanted to talk about this as well, but I think it also speaks. Look at the Yankees developing an undrafted guy in Wivinis who gets taken by Texas. Or from the independent league, they sign him and turn him into a reliever that another team wants. Ben Ruda, 30th round pick out of Wagner in Staten Island, who comes up and gets to Double-A, and now the Padres want to take him. So it speaks how the Yankees also develop the guys they take in later rounds or they sign, and they turn them into maybe not someone that can play for them, but another organization does want to take them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was definitely sad to see that crop of Yankees go. I mean, I got to see them kind of come up through the Tarpons when I worked for the Tarpons in 2018. With Venice, great guy, Caleb Ort, just a great crop of guys, Ben Ruda going. Really does say something about the development. I mean, that was a phenomenal Tampa Tarpons team in 2018. And I think we just continued to see the success of the Yankees development organization. They say the Yankees have one of the deepest developments, and it's true. They do a very, very nice job, and excited to see these new teams coming out and having the Yankees affiliates. But yeah, really happy for these guys to get a chance. Great guys with great opportunity here.
And James, I think you look at what the Yankees got back today. they did take a couple of pitchers in the minor league phase. Matt Crook, who's a lefty from Tampa Bay, who was traded in the Evan Longoria deal, who's a guy that had a lot of young talent in college, was the first-round pick, and then Tommy John. Maybe the Yankees can do something with him and get the most out of him in terms of talent. But the one that was interesting to me was Reggie McClain. He was a right-handed pitcher, was with the Phillies last year, and this is the Yankee bullpen. They're not going to likely spend a lot in the bullpen market either. McClain did get some big league experience, and you look at his 2019 numbers, and John Boy pointed this out last year. Reggie McClain did great in 19 with Seattle when he wasn't facing the Astros.
I remember that tweet.
You can make for that what you will, but he's a guy that can throw 93, 94, a good three-pitch mix. And to get him in the minor league phase, and the Yankees like Philly relievers, Paul just talked about Addison Russ, maybe the Yankees use Reggie McClain in AAA, and maybe he plays a part in the mix in the 2021 bullpen.
Yeah, I remember that tweet where it was because everyone was discussing how many careers the Astros could have ruined with that cheating scandal. One of them that popped up was McClain. So I think we cited on our last show was that the Yankees are going to have to get creative to improve the bullpen. They don't have the capital to do it. We said it. There's not many people out there in free agency. Maybe the Archie Bradley thing. I don't know. But they have to get creative one way or another. And the Rule 5 draft, maybe that's the way you do it. I don't know. But the Yankees, the one thing you can say is the Yankees are somewhat good at developing bullpen arms. They've been successful with Chad Green, and that's really it, actually. So they haven't been that good. But I guess we'll see. I don't know. They have to get creative, and this could be another way they do it.
Paul, what did you make of them taking Crook? Because when learning about him a little bit, again, like I said, this is a guy that was a former first-round pick, then was a fourth-round pick after having Tommy John at Oregon. This is the kind of guy the Yankees trying to steal from one of their division rivals and maybe trying to discover some of that talent that made him a top prep prospect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about him, but, I definitely look forward to seeing him. And, anytime you can steal from within your division, it makes it that much sweeter.
Yeah, it was nice to see after the Red Sox kept taking all the Yankee pitchers. I'm like, yes, the Yankees at least took somebody from another team in the organization. But I think that another sneaky one to keep an eye on was the Angels taking Kempero, who wasn't a highly touted prospect, but he was a good hitter. I think he had something like a 290 career average in rookie ball. Now, he only got to rookie ball because the Yankees have some depth at catcher. But that does kind of put a lot on Austin Wells when he comes back, when he gets in his professional debut at some point. And now, yes, the system is a little bit streamlined because there's not as many affiliates. So maybe Campero's loss isn't as bad, but it does put a lot on the Yankees' young catchers in 21, the Sieglers, the Bros, the Wells of the world. Because you can't – that's really a lot of their depth. Other than that, you're going to like Donnie Sands, Jason Lopez. There's – losing Kempero is kind of, I think, a loss that's going under the radar as opposed to talking about the pitchers.
Yeah, and while we're talking about Wells, I want to give him a quick shout-out. Absolutely phenomenal guy who I got to follow with the Twins and had a lot of conversations with last year while he was coming back from injury. Really, really good guy with a lot of potential, and I know he's super excited to be able to be back on a mound, posting videos on his Instagram and Facebook. Recently getting back to feeling like himself, and really happy for him. Great opportunity with the Orioles, so congratulations, Tyler Wells.
So looking at it from the recent news with the Yankees, obviously we kind of knew their major affiliates. It was not made official, but a lot of teams got their invitations on Tuesday. AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre, AA Somerset, High A Hudson Valley, Low A Tampa. Paul, I think it finally hit home the ramifications of losing 43 cities, either short season or full season, losing 43 cities that no longer have baseball now. I think Trenton gets a good thing of having the MLB draft league, which will get guys that are going to be taken in the draft where fans can still watch young talent and guys will eventually be maybe major leaguers or high picks in the draft. But nevertheless, it's still 43 cities that aren't going to be affiliated with professional baseball anymore. And yes, some will be independent too, but there's a little bit of difference.
Yeah, big difference. And it's pretty sad. The three teams the Yankees lost, the Trenton Thunder, who was previously their AA, Charleston River Dogs, who was their Low A, and Staten Island Yankees. I worked in all three places. I was fortunate to spend some time there. Trenton, like you said, joining the MLB Draft League, I'm kind of a little surprised that, I think they'll be back in affiliated ball soon. I mean, they were easily a top 50 most profitable MILB franchise. Their brand was well known. They're probably a top 30, actually. But that was really the biggest surprise for me. The River Dogs are okay. They ended up getting an affiliated ball with the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays actually are going back to Charleston. They were there from 97 to 04. But the one team that didn't fare so well was the Staten Island Yankees / Pizza Rats. They're ceasing operations and suing the Yankees and MLB for $160 million, which I just, it's sad to see because it's a good place to watch a game. You have the skyline of, Manhattan, and, I really enjoyed my time there. And, for all three of these cities to lose the Yankees, it's pretty sad, but hey, it could be worse if you're anybody but Staten Island. But I think Major League Baseball is going to do as good of a job as they can of getting draft leagues, the college prep leagues, and different independent ball leagues, and try to make this a less of a blow, as much a less of a blow as you possibly can to all those communities. But my heart definitely goes out, and I don't think it's good for the game to lose, all these affiliated, all these affiliated cities and towns.
Yeah, because that's really their own source of baseball when you think about it. But and that is a terrible thing. And it's cities and putting a lot of finances into these ballparks that you wonder, okay, how are they going to get used? And some teams have found, at least for now, good uses for them. Others will wait and see. I kind of like the draft league idea. We know the Appalachian League has turned into a college wood bat league, so there's another one of those. But the MLB draft league is interesting. I think, Paul, it depends on how baseball markets it, because if they, with the draft now being in July, not June, you could now have really good young guys that could be taken in the upper tiers of the draft be in this league. They get more exposure. They get access to the good technology. Prep Baseball Report, which is a really great site. We've had writers from their site on this show before. They do great work with scouting. They'll get access to that. But if MLB can market this and fans on social media and everything get exposure to these players early, that might be a good thing for the sport to get more youthful exposure to these kids before they get drafted and we just hear them for the first time.
Yeah, I hope that's the case. I don't have a lot of faith in Rob Manfred, to be completely honest. But hopefully they don't screw this up, and it can be a positive and a blessing in disguise. I'm definitely a positive person and always look for the good. So this could be something, and you're also gonna give a lot of these kids a chance to experience what it's like to play professional baseball before they get there. So especially for like the high school guys, playing in the bigger stadiums, the college guys, they kind of have, more experience. The college, I've been fortunate to, I went to East Carolina, and, we have a pretty diehard fan base and got a chance to travel to some pretty cool places. So they kind of have that exposure, and it's a little more rambunctious than a minor league game, but it'll be pretty cool. I'm very eager and anxious to see how this turns out.
Very quickly, Hudson Valley had their press conference, or at least their media session today on Thursday, talking about their new affiliation with the Yankees, and Michael Kay unveiled their new jerseys. Now, I have to get. I mean, I know Staten Island had like the old SI kind of semi-interlocking, the HV interlock. I think I have to get used to, but I gotta be honest. Renegades pinstripe uniforms look really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
we were talking.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, Rick, we were talking about those jerseys earlier, and I think it's really unique how they took the interlocking NY, have an interlocking HV now. Really unique to the Yankees is obviously the pinstripes, the interlock of the lettering. I was really intrigued by the jerseys and really think they're gonna look good.
Yeah, I was just going to say I love the Yankee flair to it. Pinstripes, interlocking HV, and the road uniforms are, you have the trim on the sleeves on the road grays. I like them. Thumbs up.
It makes you wonder what, if anything at all, if Somerset's going to do anything with their jerseys to like put a little Yankee flair into it. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I thought someone who watches a lot of Penn League baseball was like, really different look from the Renegades, but I liked it. So that's really what's going on in minor league baseball with the Yankees. Of course, a lot will change as trades get made, but that was the big news of the week. And all these sites at The Athletic, Baseball America have done a great job tracking all the different affiliation changes, and teams are now part of different leagues. So go to those websites for that information. They do a fantastic job with that. Want to wrap up with a couple of quick things before we do final thoughts, and James, I'll go to you for this. We know Paul mentioned he has a lack of trust in Rob Manfred, and I think for good reason, because the league, we're going near Christmas, right? And we don't even know if there's a DH or not. We don't know how many games there are. We don't know. We might, but hey, we'll give you the DH, but we want expanded playoffs. It just feels the priorities for baseball, and we're already in mid-December. We're only 2 months away from spring training, and we don't know the rules of engagement going in. How are teams supposed to make moves when they don't know what's going on?
You got to hope they're waiting on the effectiveness of this vaccine. I don't know. We'll see how. I guess maybe they're waiting on to see if we can get back to normal. I don't know. But to be fair, the NBA kind of did. Adam Silver's done a great job with the NBA. He did kind of spring it on rather suddenly that the season was starting immediately. So I don't know. It is a tough spot for everyone. So I tried not to give Manfred too much problem for this, but I don't know. I don't trust him at all, obviously. But I guess you got to give him a little bit of slack because there's still some things to be felt out.
Alexis, it just seems weird because you have guys like Nelson Cruz and Marcell Ozuna, who their markets might get limited in a year where not a lot of teams have money to begin with. I feel like if you're going to have, maybe if you don't want to put the DH anymore, at least have it this year so players that have not a lot of markets could actually, have a better chance to find a home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's a lot of back and forth right now on if there's going to be the designated hitter, if it's going to be that universal DH. I think teams really liked it last year. I think there's benefit to it, especially to save your pitchers who I don't really think need to be hitting anyway. But yeah, you look at the Nelson Cruz, who his opportunity really is only as a DH, and in a year like COVID where budgets are limited, like you said, that limits the options of where they can go. And, that kind of sucks for these guys.
Paul, I'll let you chime in on that, but also I know you wanted to bring up there's a certain relief pitcher, as James mentioned earlier, who went to Instagram and posted a picture of himself in a CC Sabathia jersey. Which, by the way, check out the CC Sabathia Under the Grapefruit Tree documentary on HBO December 22nd. Looks really good. But would Archie Bradley, who was non-tendered by the Reds, be a good fit here?
100%. I loved it. It puts a huge smile on my face. Honestly, just to see anyone in pinstripes. But, the Yankees have been linked to him in the past. Hey, come join the evil empire. We definitely got a spot in the bullpen for you. But commenting on the no decision and using the DH as a bargaining chip, I mean, it's just horrible job by both MLB and the Players Association. Just brutal job. I mean, it's like, okay, fans, we're going to change the rules here. You kind of rip the Band-Aid off from all the people that are, old school, National League. You're going to ruin the game of baseball. You rip the Band-Aid off. Hey, it's a great success. Everybody actually liked it. No, you know what? We're going to go back to the way it was and just start this whole thing over again. I mean, it's just awful.
So let's wrap it up with a little bit of final thoughts. And for those not familiar with how we do final thoughts, basically it's our segment to talk about, whatever we want. So it always gets really interesting to what gets talked about in this segment. James, I'll start with you. What's your final thought for this week? Okay, so James isn't in first. So let's go. How about Alexis? What about you? What's your final thought for this week?
My final thoughts. Gosh, it's crazy. The NFL season's already winding down. I think I'm going to go that route again and hold on to hope and say I hope my Jaguars can beat the Titans this weekend because I need a win. Came really close against the Vikings. Didn't have it at the end in overtime. Really hoping we can pull off a win there. But excited for hopefully spring training coming in February or March. Hopefully we can get fans back in the stands for that and it feel like some kind of normalcy for the guys on the field.
Jaguars very competitive, and at least they're not the Jets. At least Mike Glenn, the Jaguars are tanking but losing competitively. Not like that other team in New York. Jeez, but the Fighting Mike Glennons are doing really well. But hey, you get to watch Kyle Trask. Who knows? Maybe he might be in a Jaguar uniform next year.
That's my hope. If the Jags have that high pick, as a Gator alum, I'm not going to complain if we get my man Trask.
And you know what? It's a team that wants to draft a certain high player. Give me your tight end instead. I'll take that. That guy Fitz is fantastic. But yeah. That's besides the point. Paul, what's your final thought for this week?
I'll stick with baseball. You think Josh Bell, all the rumors and, okay, yeah, he's a switch hitter. He'll balance the lineup out. Mm-hmm. Not so fast. The guy hit 180 against lefties last year versus, he obviously had a down year, but this guy historically has not hit left-handed pitching. He would not be a good addition. Stay away. The only way I'm doing that is if you give me Musgrove and Jamison Taillon.
Yeah, I kind of like Taillon for if they're looking at spin rate, and I feel like that's the kind of guy I would want to put around Garrett Cole and Matt Blake, and maybe having that sabermetric idea of how to use him in the best way would work for the Yankees.
Totally, and I agree with that. And for, he's projected by MLB trade rumors to make $2.3 million. Second round or the second overall pick by Pittsburgh in 2010. To get a talent like that, sign me up.
All right, so my final thought for this week. I found a team, guys, that if the Yankees decide to sell, that they could totally get good prospects from in July. The Phillies, who are going to hire Dave Dombrowski as their new president of baseball operations. Now, give Dave Dombrowski credit. Wherever he goes, he finds a way to at least, if not win a World Series, put your team in contention. That's what the Phillies are looking for. I get it. And there were the reports from Buster Olney that the Phillies were looking to shop Zach Wheeler because they're in that much of a financial crunch, and John Middleton said we wouldn't trade Zach Wheeler for Babe Ruth. John Middleton being the Phillies owner. The Phillies are in that weird state where they can't really afford JT Realmuto, but they still want to spend in a year where they've lost a lot of money. So bringing in Dombrowski actually makes sense. He can bring a splash. He's going to help your team. He's going to bring in the guys you want because the Phillies need to contend. They have too good a roster not to. But we know with Dombrowski, and I think this makes what should make Yankee fans thankful for Cashman. He'll try to win, but he'll also try to keep you competitive in a 5 to 7 year period. We've seen with the Red Sox, they're still reaping the fruits of those Dombrowski trades that was the win now and then have your farm system be terrible for the next 3 to 5 years. You feel like the Phillies are going to get to that point, and they have great young talent in that farm system. Spencer Howard, the list goes on and on. They have a pretty good farm system. Phillies are selling out for win now. So if the Yankees season ever got downhill and they had to try to make some trades to get some high-quality prospects, Maybe they give their old buddy Dave Dombrowski a call. But I'm interested to see how that works in Philadelphia, because that's a team that really needs to win. And how Dombrowski works with Girardi, two semi-old school guys, are going to be pretty interesting to see what happens with that. So as we wrap up the show, I want to thank everybody for tuning in this week. Stay tuned each week for the Chasin 28 podcast. New name, but we're still the same people. And hopefully the Yankees will make some more news as we get closer to spring training and we get closer to the holidays and the start of 2021. So, Alexis, how can they follow you on Twitter?
You can follow me at Alexis Farinacci.
And Paul, how can they follow you on Twitter?
At NYYPags. That's NYYPAGS.
You can follow me on Twitter at Rickinator555. Check out my show, Keegan McKeel, over on Full Press Radio. We just hit a big download milestone, so thanks to all who have tuned into the show. We're going to do Week 14 Word Association this week. Talk a little bit about the whole Ohio State college football situation, Army-Navy this week, and we'll look into what's happened with baseball and basketball getting started soon. So that's all coming up this week on the show. Want to remind you can tweet us on Twitter at Pinstripe Pros, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Chances are Chasin 28, or if you search Pinstripe Prospects, it's probably us too for right now as we work on that. You can send me an email as well. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Please leave that 5-star rating. Email me, rickjkeeler@gmail.com. I'll be happy to hear from you. So from all of us here at Pinstripe Prospects, remember, stay tuned for everything related to minor league baseball. We have it for you. We have some great new additions to the team as well. We have a new writer for Hudson Valley, as I try to pull I had his name up here. I should have had it more. Paul, you might have it, right?
I actually do not right now, and I can't remember off the top of my head, so I am sorry.
I am going to pull it. I'm going to pull this up because we are Steve Alhona. He is our new Hudson Valley writer for this year. So when Hudson Valley gets started, you can follow Steve's work. Does some great stuff on minor league baseball. So we're happy to have him as a part of our team. So from all of us here at Pinstripe Prospects, for our founder, Rob Pimpster, I'm Ricky Keeler saying have a great week. Stay safe, stay warm, wear a mask, and I will see you next time.